Oh,
Whispering.
I'm not whispering.
That was a very quiet whoa.
It was a quiet, but I wasn't whispering. This would be whispering.
Are we doing names or whatever?
No, isn't that like
No, it's the opposite. It's like calm and peaceful and like no noise.
you actually listen to it?
Yeah, I think
It's literally like
don't,
people
don't
doing
you
things.
just get splinters under your fingernails?
No, but it didn't feel great.
Yeah, if you could never do that in front of me again.
But it's like someone like crunching up.
I don't think we're
Like
talking about the same thing.
I think we are.
I don't. Well, my intent was not what you're talking about.
They're supposed to be calming for some people, but for me, it is not.
All that quiet, just letting you. So it's not the video that makes noise. It's all the noises in your head come to the forefront when everything is quiet already. Like you're watching a quiet video, and what you think is the video noise is just all that stuff in your brain go and attacking you.
I do have a very loud head.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It's a 7-Eleven. It never closes.
It really doesn't. It's
No, and it's
nonstop.
full of junk. Oh, come on, that was
Music.
funny.
Lots of music.
No, it's not music because you hate music.
I love music. I don't like listening.
There it is. So I love music as long as I can hear it.
No, certain times if I'm eating, I don't like music
Or
playing.
if you're driving,
I love music playing when I'm driving,
when I'm driving.
not as a passenger.
What? So,
When I'm driving, I will have music on and I will have it blaring.
but as a passenger, music annoys you.
I cannot.
I don't even have a response for that. Like that's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. And you don't like McFlurry spoons.
This chair is lower for me than usual because the mic is like above my mouth, way above. It's like at my eyes. Hopefully people can hear me up there.
Oh my God.
Yes, I have some sensory sensitivities, okay?
You didn't before. Either you repressed them before or they've developed in the past 10 or so years.
Yeah, I would say they've developed. Although when I look back, I'm definitely going to sound my neurodivergent self here. But yeah, like I always had to have my socks. The seams had to be a certain kind of seams in the socks. Actually, even to this day, although we're talking about previous, because my sensory sensitivities have definitely gotten worse. But I always had to pull them up to my knee. My dad would talk about that too. That drove him nuts because I'd take a step, and as soon as they slid down, to them, looked like they were exactly at the same height. But for me, I could feel the little slip of a millimeter. I'd have to pull them back up.
I mean, I get it. Like a poor fitting pair of socks is annoying.
I had to eat steak burnt. Couldn't have things touching
Like on your plate or just in general.
on my plate for food.
So have those all gone away?
Yeah, I love like raw steak now. I mush all my food together.
Yeah, you do. It's kind of gross. Actually, I think you've swung too far the other way because I've seen you mix some stuff which shouldn't be mixed. Like,
Like what?
uh, you do like yeah.
Socks. There are a lot of socks that I don't like wearing. The
But
material is kind of
that's our like a good pair of socks.
totally.
It's pretty magical. And a bad pair of socks does make you want to just end your life because what's the point?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, on a walk with a bad pair of socks? 100%.
Well, I just wouldn't have put them on in the first place.
But what if you put them on thinking they were the right pair of socks and then you're a kilometer into the walk and you're got no options?
Oh no, I know immediately if my socks are the right socks or not.
Yeah, your external sensory processors pick up on it. Beep boop.
Hey man. No, my internal. Why would external sensory processors pick up on it?
Because they're touching the outside of you.
Oh.
I'm 90% sure I don't want to do this today.
I've been sleep deprived for so long.
Yeah, and then you decided to change it around for an upcoming trip.
Well, even worse, like I'm even more sleep deprived. So I've been going to bed consistently an hour every night, a little bit later. Last night was like an hour and a half to prepare for our trip that's coming up. But I'm not getting up. Actually, the first night I went to bed later, I woke up an hour earlier. So I was under 4 hours. Tonight or last night, I went to sleep hour and a half, 2.5 hours past when I would like to go to bed. And I only slept in half an hour. It's not working out great for me.
Your hair looks like it ends at your shoulders the way it's
Oh,
tucked right now.
how do I look with short hair? Doesn't look good, does it?
Not the way it's going. Like you're someone I'd interact with at a library.
Can you take a picture so I can see what it looks like?
Yeah, I guess.
See, here's the thing. I'm at that age that I should start getting like old lady haircut.
Well, I'm about to have photographic evidence that you shouldn't.
Because what's the appropriate age? Yeah, see,
Not a good
I can't
look.
do it. I did my haircut. Remember
But
when?
that's not a good cut. That literally is a bell shape. Like it's making your head look like a bell.
Yeah. Because I did get my hair cut once when I was in Vegas. And it was like short at the back and long at the
Yeah, that
front.
looked
Kind
good.
of the day that I got it cut, I'm not a styler. I wash it and I go. Rarely do I dry it. I just let it air dry.
Yeah.
But at what age should I start? Like, I feel like I'm probably at that age I should start thinking about
Why?
getting it shorter.
Why?
I don't know. Just,
What's is there a rule? Like, is
I
there?
think there
There
is.
isn't. Because I'll be everybody that you hear talk about it, that's a middle-aged woman that's cut her hair short. It's all for the convenience of it's just so much easier. But these are people that up until then have colored it and styled it and blah, blah, blah. You don't do any of those things. You just said it. So it's not like it's taking you any more time to maintain long hair.
True.
So why change it?
Because I feel like it's like old lady hippie cat hair.
So
Or
you're
not cat hair, but like cat lady hippie
you
hair.
that's your vibe. That's the energy you put out in the world.
Is it actually?
Hmm.
I know you guys all make fun of me that it is, but is it actually?
Yeah, there's an underlying hippie vibe to you for sure.
Like what?
Remember the whole no poo shampoo incident?
Yeah, I was just trying something
All right.
new.
Actually, have you ever named a tree? Have you ever hugged a tree? Have you recently told me about a tree that was huggable? You did on our walk at Shoal Ice a few weeks ago.
Did I?
Yeah.
Aw,
So I can keep going.
that's not fair.
How's that enough? That is proof. You said, "How? What's the but?" There's your proof.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Like, honest to God, if I replaced the Hyundai with a 1971 Beetle van, like VW van, you'd be all right with it. You'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Dog's fit. As long as it's fast, you don't care."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not into like the whole drug scene, hippie,
No, but the
druggy, that kind of
whole one with the universe, commune with nature thing, that's your jam.
ish, ish.
Would you rather hang out on the couch or sit on a front lawn? Again,
Well,
you're
not
taking
here, but like it depends where. Here, I would rather be in our nice little library that we're building versus the front lawn. Garbage. If we're at the cabin, yeah, I would rather be in my little teepee in front of our cabin.
what about any of the teepees on the dog walk?
I do
Yeah.
enjoy walking into
Like
them.
I got a book of reasons that you give off a hippie vibe.
Hey man, I just like taking the energy from the world around
Wow.
me.
Thanks for doing my job for me. Like you can't even not do it.
It's grounding. Okay, but to look at me, like, look, I'm just wearing a rage hoodie,
Yeah, an angry bear.
normal
You know why the
jeans.
bear's angry? Because you're not out in the woods to give it a hug. That's why it's
I would
angry.
never hug a bear.
Yeah,
That's silly.
100%. If you saw a bear, a young bear that was cute, and you couldn't see its parent, you'd be like, one side of your brain would be like, that's a danger bear. And the other side would be like, that's a huggable bear. And they would fight. And do you know what side would win? Huggable bear.
If it was a baby bear, probably yes.
Like,
And I knew for sure there was no mama bear around.
don't ever question how well I know you. I know you. I know you. You are the can I pet the dog kid? Can I pet that dog? And you're just like, can I pet that bear? And that's you. Can I hug that tree?
All right. Not any old tree, though.
No, it's got to be a tree with a soul.
Okay.
Not a fir tree because they're spiky.
No, but young fir trees. Sorry, I'm just readjusting. Young fir trees make very good tea.
Now you're too high. Can anybody hear you down there?
Now I'm about even with you. Have you had my fir tree tea?
Um, I'm drawing a blank, which tells me I've repressed something. So yeah, probably.
It's very delicious.
Yeah, right there. I've probably had it and not enjoyed it.
It's actually very good. And even the girls love it.
Where you rip a sapling's arms off and boil them alive.
Not the arm, like just some of the little
Needles.
needles. You pull some of them off fresh, put them in some boiling water. It is tasty.
Now, if you did that at the cabin, would you walk back to the scene of the crime and drink that tea in front of it and go, ah, so it can hear you drinking its
They drop
essence?
needles all the time. It's the same thing like we grow food. We pick apples off of trees. Same sort of thing.
All right.
Anyway, what's on tap today? Did you plan something? You did.
No.
Did you?
No, I didn't plan anything. I live my life free in the breeze.
Well, what are we going to talk about then?
Well, we had a conversation the other day that I
Yes, we
think
did.
probably warrants it. So, um, we have tried to raise very confident girls.
And I've realized maybe we're too good at our job.
And one of my friends actually brought it up the other day. He's like, "Oh, I love your girls, man. They're always so, they stand up for themselves and they're confident." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe a smidge too much.
Who is
Maybe
that?
Zal." And he's not wrong. Like the whole goal was to make sure that we raised girls that were confident and comfortable with who they were, and more importantly, had the common sense to interpret a situation as good or bad and act appropriately. Right? This person's bad for me. This person's treating me badly. I'm going to act appropriately.
And I think like with Maya especially, it was important for me just because we saw so much anxiety in
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
like social anxiety stuff.
But as with everything, it's about moderation. And we learned through parent teacher conferences this week that both girls, while highly regarded by all their teachers and well liked, exhibited certain tendencies of perhaps not reading the situation well. So one of the children, we were asked if they had explained to us the story about an incident that potentially happened that day or somewhere in the vicinity of parent teacher conference where a boy was left crying. And we weren't given too many details for the privacy of the boy's sake.
I was just gonna say, well, she is sarcastic and like she jokes around, and two teachers are like, "Yep, I've had the brunt of that."
Yeah.
You
Guaranteed.
can imagine ever being sarcastic and like,
I had teachers that you had that relationship with. But in junior high was where I started having teachers that you could joke around with for sure.
I did not like that, where she would like what was the one teacher calling her? Some sort of midget, magical midget.
Yeah, he called her yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Anyway,
It was a great burn. It was a great burn. And one that I would have endorsed had I been there.
and one she would have quickly returned.
100%. She
She's so
smashed it
witty
probably.
and yeah.
But it comes down to, I guess the question, then I mean, the other instance was maybe a smidge overconfidence and a smidge ADHD tendencies where literally we were shown an answer to a test where she was being asked to explain how she knew what she knew from the previous answer, right? Explain how you understand this topic in a way that demonstrates your knowledge. And she wrote roughly that she just knew it. And that was it.
Well, because she's got 100% on every assignment.
Yeah.
Except for this one.
Yeah.
Where it's a self-reflection. But one is, what can you improve on?
Oh, that was it too. Yeah.
And she said nothing because I know it. And then how do you know it? And she's like, I just do.
I just do.
And don't need to explain myself.
Yeah. So
That was her. written response.
yeah. Not like the teacher was paraphrasing. She showed us the answer. So it comes down to, I guess, what the question, the topic of discussion today maybe is how do you manage, as we have not, striking a balance between building confidence and potentially fostering arrogance,
Mhm.
right? And obviously there's different factors at play here, but that because my biggest concern has always been I don't want to raise girls that are taken advantage of,
Yeah.
right? I've seen it. I've had friends, I've had, relationships where you could just tell, right? And to be fair, women have to put up with a lot more BS than dudes. And
Mhm.
part of that is just dudes are dumb, right? So a lot of times they might not even pick up on the nuance of the situation, but women are subjected to it more directly, more frequently, right?
Mhm.
And so I never wanted that. I wanted girls that, knew how to stand up for themselves and knew how to push back when they needed to push back. But I also try and make sure that there's a fair amount of empathy on the other side of it of, take care of people, right? People that need help or deserve help, you should give it. People that need an ass kicking or being told that they're an idiot deserve that as well, right? It's kind of a double, and it's not that you seek it out, it's just understanding where those boundaries are,
Mhm.
right? But and I want to paraphrase it. I don't think our kids are pathological or anything here, but
Well, and that's the thing. If we take it out of context, like those are two different things. They're confident and they're not arrogant.
yeah,
Neither teacher, none of the teachers would ever think that they were arrogant
true.
when they know them, right? I remember once, Willow did her like a parent she had just met, and she's used to having, especially male parents, just being witty with them, even if she's just met them.
Yeah.
Like, what's is that your face or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever it is, right? And she was probably what, like 8 years old, maybe even if that. And she said one of these witty, sarcastic things to a dad who made a comment to her. And I saw his look of what
yeah. How dare
frick?
you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like what? So, people who don't know them, obviously, they can come across as arrogant, but I would rather them have this confidence. With the one kiddo who's like I do know it and I just know it. I can't explain it. That is the
yeah,
ADHD part for sure. And
yeah.
so,
Like when we drilled into it, it wasn't her being flip. It was
yeah,
she
because
literally.
they are very both humble.
Yeah,
And even the other one, when we complained, like with the boy, she's like, what? She was just beside herself. And she's like, I'm just trying to think of who. And then she was giving all the scenarios of any boy she had contact with. And one was being actually quite racist and derogatory.
yeah.
He was standing up. I'm like, yeah. So, but anyways, all this to say, I mean, with the one, I would say working on the metacognitive piece is
So for listeners that don't understand, I
self-confidence.
know the word for sure, but maybe explain it for the people that might not.
How about you explain it?
Well, it sounds better coming from a doctor. So
That's the piece that we do need to be a little bit more thoughtful of. I know I try to incorporate it, but it's asking them questions instead of us telling them and I'm saying us, I'm saying
yeah,
parents, right? So and I actually know that we haven't been great necessarily at this when girls are like, well, how do I do this simple thing? Right. And it's like, well, use your problem solving skills. Like it's very easy, right? I can't even think of like, oh, the butter won't fit in the dish.
yeah,
What do I do? I'm like, well, what do you think you need to do, kiddo?
yeah.
Right. And it's when we step in and tell them, do this, do one, step two, step three, step four. No, we got to start asking, how do you get started? Right? What strategies are you going to use to figure it out? How will you know when you're done? If you get into trouble, like what are some things? Let's problem solve. So it's asking open-ended questions.
Hmm.
We have started doing that. I know several episodes ago we were just talking about, what did you do well, like
Hmm.
in the context of right
Yeah,
now,
your
but it could
breakdown.
be
Yeah,
anything.
your breakdown.
What did you do well? What can you work on? And those types of questions can be really helpful. We've talked about the mistake of the day, right? So they're
Hmm.
really reflecting on those things. That is super important. Um, so I mean, just in terms of that self-reflection piece, that's the ADHD getting in the way. But I do see kids being overconfident and maybe I don't know if it's arrogance or is it this, I call this positive illusory bias, where like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what your problem is,
Hmm.
right? Like everything is hunky-dory in my world, and they're not thinking about, their actions and things like that. Oftentimes we see that when it's empty praise. It's like, oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so good. We use these big, broad, vague, sweeping terms, but we're not being specific, right? Thank you so much. Well, last night in my, quest to be staying up later and later, I got a burst of energy around 9 o'clock. And so I started doing my chores,
Hmm.
my Saturday morning chores. Wasn't able to do them in the morning, so I was doing them then. But I asked Willow if she could help just do a couple things as I was doing the vacuuming and things like that. And afterwards, I said, thank you so much. You were such a big help. I was able to finish this faster. So now we could go watch the race. We were staying up so we could watch the F1 race, which was in Australia the next day,
Hmm.
but it was later in the evening. So being very specific, right? Or if you played a great game, kiddo, okay, well, what specifically? And we've been focusing more on that, right?
Yeah.
Like you're checking, you were in there, your checking was strong. You were going, if you didn't have the ring, you were going after the ring, right? Your pass at the triangle. Like we're being very specific about those things. And we really do, as parents, need to do that more.
Yeah.
Praise the effort and versus outcome, especially like you're so smart and you're so beautiful. Well, what if one day they have a breakout
Yeah.
and now they're not beautiful and their whole identity is based on that? Or if they get a C on something, and that does that mean I'm not smart anymore? Like we just can't, we got to focus on the steps that they took to get that A grade or
Right.
whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a fairly succinct answer, actually. I don't really know what else to kind of cover.
Well, it's looking at the goods and the bad, right? Like, or the what did you do well? What can you improve on? And that was one thing that the English teacher was saying. Even if you got
Yeah.
100%, and Maya has been getting 100%, even if you got 100%, that doesn't mean it's perfect. It's just knowing that I only gave you an hour. So the resources that you had in that hour to do it. So where can you work on some
Yeah.
things, right? And here are some things that you can work on. But knowing what you did in this time, it was incredible. And that's why you got 100%. But there's always room to grow. And I think that's important. I guess maybe where I could see arrogance coming through is with their peers.
Yeah.
So with this child in particular, who's been getting 100, except on the self-reflections, she had a friend over one day and they were talking, oh yeah, we got to do these PRTs. It's personal response or
Yeah.
whatever to whatever. And the one friend's like, oh, I have no idea. Can you help me? And Maya's like, really? Like, you don't know? Right. And
Yeah.
so that piece, I think, could,
Yeah. It's trying to come from up. That's where the empathy needs to come in, right? Because there are things that some of her friends crush her on, right? She's not as good. And so
well, that's just it. Like math, her friend
yeah.
crushed her in math.
Yeah.
And
But at the same time, it's like if she had asked for help, how would she have been okay with that response, right? If it was directed at her. But in the moment, right, it's that trying to think it through because the intent is never to be mean,
no.
right?
And
But
she did soften immediately. It was just that initial, what? Like, she's like, yeah, I can see why. And I, have had this teacher before. And so then she was able to explain and did actually,
yeah.
she fixed it on her own. But
Okay.
in that first moment,
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing, right? Is always trying to start off from a place that I mean, everybody's going to judge, right? You've always got your internal biases and stuff, but it's how you initiate or manage that judgment to move it forward, right? So in the situation where she's the one that is reacting potentially negative, take that extra beat, teach them to take that extra second and think, not even think, but just breathe for a second before you respond. The one thing I've noticed about kids these days is um, there's this immediacy to their communication where they have to respond immediately. And a lot of times, like we see it, this is kind of off course from what we're talking about, but a lot of the flare ups and the drama and the friend issues that we've seen have been because of the rapid nature of the responses that doesn't allow for the situation to actually be fully understood. And I think in that situation specifically, that could have been that had she not recognized her misstep and fixed it, right? So it's teaching kids to take that beat and understand what they're in the middle of before they take a step forward. And then try and drill into the fact that, and being a teenager is a tough time, right? Because you are trying to find where you're at. You are looking for things that you excel at that others don't to try and build up your confidence, right? But it's when you weaponize that confidence is when it becomes an issue. And some kids are really good at not doing that. Other kids are not as great at managing that, right? And it's just trying to make sure that you recognize it or pay attention to recognize it in your kid to correct it as you can, I think is the big thing, right? Because, and this is something I've noticed, self-confidence in women is labeled something much more negative,
It is.
right? It
Yeah.
100% is. Like she's difficult to work with, she's a B, whatever. And that's not to say that you shouldn't, but it's understanding how to deliver it in a method that avoids that distraction. And I don't know if there's a successful way because at the end of the day, if you got to push someone, you got to push someone. And if they think that you're, such and such because of it, that's on them, right?
Yeah.
But women definitely have to deal with a lot more additional pieces, right? That said, I have also worked with a lot of women that in their effort to be respected swing way too far the other way, right?
Mhm.
Just as I've worked with just as many volatile men as well. Like I'm not saying it's isolated to one gender, but what it tells me is those people don't understand the situational piece, right? To understand it, to really take it in before they make a decision on how much to push and how much to whatever, right?
I wonder if we should just take a quick step because we were talking about, what we could have done differently to counteract or like balance the confidence, but maybe we should talk about what we did to help create the confidence because I know probably a lot of families who are listening, they're just kids aren't, right? And I think we've talked so much about that. And it's
Mhm.
because same thing though, we're always swooping in, we're fixing things, we're telling them what to do, we're reassuring, everything that
Mhm.
we've talked about. So we've sort of crippled kids, rob them of opportunities to problem solve and things like that.
Well,
But
work through a difficult feeling situation, whatever, right?
yeah.
Yeah, because you got to figure that out. And part of me laughs because I don't know that we didn't really initiate anything. I remember coming off the ice when Maya was the worst kid on the ice and she was running her mouth about how good she was. And it's like, bro, you were not that good, right? But it's not extinguishing the enthusiasm,
Mhm.
but redirecting it in a way that gets them focused on doing a bit more work, right?
Well, and we did always give them something to focus on,
Yeah.
right? Like I know in those early years, it was just the ring.
Yeah, get the
Pay attention to the ring.
yeah.
Just if you're not on the ring, get the ring or try to get the ring. So it was only focusing on one thing. But I think capitalizing on natural opportunities too. I'm sure I've shared this story, but a great example is when Maya was in junior high, she took the bus to and
Yep.
from because it's quite a ways from our house. It's probably like an hour walk. And I was on my way home and her school just wasn't far off of where I needed to drive. So I called her up, said, "Hey, kiddo, I can come pick you up from school today if you want." Awesome. Thanks, mom. Great. And then the prankster in me called her back and like, wouldn't it be funny to say, "Oops, just kidding, never mind." And I did. And it was probably about 10 minutes after buses have already left. She started freaking out, right? It was just a joke. I could see her school. I was still picking her up. But because she freaked out, I realized this was an opportunity to build that resilience, to build that confidence for her to figure it out
Yeah.
because she had never missed the bus before. So she's never figured out how to get home if I miss the bus. So instead of saying, just kidding, I said, sorry, I'll see you at home. And I hung up and I left so that she could figure it out. She didn't get home for like 2 hours later. So then I'm like, oh my God, something happened to her. But she walked in the door, like not even a care in the world. I'm like, how's it going? Good. Okay, how was your afternoon? Good. She found a friend and they met each other and they ended up walking to West Hills and going for a drink, like getting
Yep.
some hot chocolate or whatever, and then walked home and she was fine. It just in that moment of panic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I sort of created and capitalized on those situations. But any hard, I mean, they have to be accountable. We've talked about this on
Mhm.
lots of episodes, accountable to other people. When she was having a hard time, she would have been, what, 12 years old with a coach. Okay, what are you going to do
Yeah.
about it, kiddo?
Explain to us how you're going to solve this. It's not our problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we could have, and a lot of parents would go right to the coach or to a teacher or to another parent,
Yeah.
but we didn't. We said, we are here, like we validated, that sucks. It's a really hard position. What are you going to do? And she went and talked to that and that coach, and it's hard. You could see she was anxious. She's shaking, like her voice is shaking. You could tell she just wanted to puke, but she had it.
Hmm.
And actually, I think that was such a pivotal moment because her confidence from that point forward has grown so much.
Yeah.
I really think that that was a pivotal point.
Well, and credit to the coach too, because he recognized what was going on and treated it appropriately, right? He
Right.
didn't shut her down. He didn't
Yeah.
ignore her. He listened,
Yeah.
right? So that's a big piece of it as well. If
Yeah.
you're an
'Cause it
adult,
could have gone very
well, we've
differently.
had other
Yeah.
coaches that wouldn't have been okay with that,
Yeah.
right? So as an adult, if you're presented with that, this is some advice for you. Take a second and really think through what's happening. Is it a kid complaining or is it a kid trying to step up and take ownership of something? And if it's that, foster it or you shouldn't be in a position to help them anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think us modeling too. I think another pivotal point, I think this was probably more for Willow, maybe for Maya, was that, and I know I for sure have shared this, but the day in the dog park,
Mhm.
because girls have never seen me. I think they see me as a bit of a pushover. And I think that's just my role as a psychologist,
Mhm.
because a lot of the things that I come up with, I'm just validating the other person. And
Yeah.
it's not that I'm, slinking away. It's just I know how to like conflict resolution. It just looks like I'm,
Yep.
appeasing and a people pleaser. Maybe there is a truth to that. But when I need to be assertive, I can.
Mhm.
And in that dog park, there was a bully, a woman bullying this other man, and who felt very
Mhm.
compromised and was scared, even though he was a full grown man, right? But I was assertive and stood up because this woman was terrible.
Yeah, she was awful. I remember you telling me about her.
And the girls were just like, we have never seen you yell at anyone. I never yelled at her, but I was assertive,
Yeah.
right? We have just as much right being here as you do.
Yeah. In the off-leash dog park, our dogs are free to roam. You chose to run here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your choice. And so I think like Willow just was like, we can stand up for
Mhm.
ourselves and stick up for ourselves. So I think there's lots of little pieces, right? Giving them that specific praise, but where's that improvement?
Yeah.
Always supporting and validating, but confidence that they're going to figure it out and giving them those opportunities to figure it out. Important responsibilities, like they plan their own birthday parties,
Mhm.
right? They do everything.
Yeah.
I wish I was in the loop a little bit more. It'd be good to know, times and
Yeah. They're not great at the communication side.
but giving them more and more of those responsibilities is so important. Okay, figure it out. You want to go to the roller rink?
Yeah.
Cool. How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I think part of it as well is like, and this is a moment for parents to self-reflect. So both of our girls are teenagers now. And recently it's really been noticeable on Willow's team. And no disrespect to any of the parents on the team. They're great people. We've gotten along with them all year. But I am constantly shocked by the amount of parents still tying their girls' skates at 13 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And it's to me, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge thing. But I bet that's not the only thing that the kid could be doing that the parent's doing for themselves. So take a beat, and in terms of what you're talking about with creating opportunity, take a step and figure out what opportunities are you taking away inadvertently, because it's a less of a conflict by doing it. Make them like Willow did get me to tie her skates the past couple of games because she has having problems with one of her ankles and she wanted it tight. Cool. I'm happy to help because she came out with fully tied skates and said, "Can you tighten these?" Not a problem. When she comes out with them not tied, I'm like, "Man, you better get going because you're on the clock and I'm not tying them." And it used to be an issue, but I'm flabbergasted by how many parents are still seeking their children out to do this for them at an age where, look, if I can't go into the locker room because they're too old, right? And I agree, I shouldn't be in the locker room. I want to be really clear about that. That means though that there's more that they can do to get themselves ready. I shouldn't have to hang out outside of the locker room to help them finish getting ready for a game. If they're deemed old enough to get ready for the game on their own in the locker room, go figure it out, right? And that's just one example. There's a ton of like Willow, again, I think her timing is suspect. But again, this morning, woke up, I'm going to bake scones.
They're
I'm like,
the
dude,
best stones in the universe.
yeah, I'm like, dude, we got to go in 40 minutes. She's like, yeah, no, I know. It's fine. And that's
I'm done.
because we've allowed her to do that. I do still hate that she picks the cleanest kitchen
I know.
possible. But
That's
anyways,
true. I just cleaned it
and I
last
called her
night.
on it. I'm like, dude, what is wrong
That's
with you?
so true.
Like, as soon as you saw a clean kitchen this morning, you had to bake. That's not true.
Yeah.
Really? Really? Anyways, so I think it's accumulation. Like the point I'm trying to get to is it's never too early to start seeking out those opportunities, not just to get them through the uncomfortable bits like you did, but to make them self-reliant in a way that builds them up over time.
Yeah.
Because if you all of a sudden make a pivot where you've done everything and now you're doing nothing, you're going to create conflict. It's too much at once, right? So start small, right? Make them do the little things and gradually build them up. And then
Or
they won't
make them
want,
try if they want to. But if they want to try something hard, then all
yeah,
for it. Like
yeah,
that's
just be there to make sure that you can clean up the mess.
because they can do stuff. Well, even just Willow's in cooking, like
Yeah.
foods, home ec kind of thing. Like we're going into month 4 here pretty quick, and they're just starting to actually be able to use stoves because like these are 13, 14-year-old kids and the teacher's like, yeah, they don't know anything. I'm like, dude, my 3-year-old, when Willow was 3, she made up her own recipe, these fennel pork chops, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
I remember she started with omelets. I remember 2-year-old little Willow standing up and she would put turmeric and
Mhm.
all of these spices into these chop up onions. And yeah, she burnt herself once
Yeah.
because she grabbed the pan and not the handle. And she looked at me with big eyes. I'm like, what was that like? She's like, hot. I'm like, yeah, guess what? She never did again. They do learn.
Mhm.
And so Willow's bored out of her mind, but she's got a great leadership opportunity here because there's 2 girls from, was it Israel?
Okay.
Iran,
Yeah.
and who don't speak any English at all. So she's taken them under her wing and she's teaching them how to cook and
Yeah. And
like
helping the
using Google.
teacher because the teacher's struggling, right?
Oh,
She's trying
yeah.
to teach the rest of the class and has these 2 new students that are good kids. Like if we're all
She's
like,
teaching the teacher how to airdrop
yeah,
and
airdrop
recipes.
Google Translate for the recipes. But
Yeah.
I think that's the gist of it is there's opportunities to help them. What we're noticing is there's also making sure that there's a situational component to it. So it doesn't come across as arrogant and overconfident,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, especially if you get girls, there's a lot worse things that they could be than overconfident,
Yeah.
right?
So I was just throwing that in for leadership. Anything helping other people, leadership, feeling like they're contributing, all of those are really helpful.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do think team sports.
Yeah.
I always talk about team sports on so many levels, and I think that's another good one too.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool beans.
All right, excellent job. Let's wrap this up so we can go frolic in the meadow.
Good day.